welcome back to my channel Avanti Morocha. Today I'm going to talk about system phones versus Cricut phones. There are differences and not a lot of people know what they are. First, I'm going to talk about system phones. Go to text and select system phones. System phones are the ones that come with your operating system, are part of the graphic program you may use, were purchased, or have been downloaded. As you can see, all system phones are single layer and have the option to be cut. If you are using phones that you downloaded from a site like thephone.com, it is important to read the license. As you see, most of their phones are only for personal use, which means you cannot use them for a business. I'm going to click on one of them. Here you can read the author notes. This demo phone is for personal use only, but any donation are very appreciated. If you want to buy the commercial license, click here. The price for the commercial license of this phone is $13. The license allows you to use the phone for your business. For example, you can use it to make cards, logos, or as part of your merchandise. As I mentioned before, system phones are single layer. Depending on the font you are using, it can have different styles like regular, bold, italic. One thing that you will never see on system phones is the writing style. This is exclusive to Cricut Phones. I'm going to modify this word that is part of the system phones. Because it is a script font, I prefer the letters to be continuous. I've reduced the letter spacing, but I still need to modify it manually. Ungroup and move the letters. This looks the best if the word is going to be cut or drawn. Before sending the word to cut, draw, or score, it's necessary to weld it. I'm going to duplicate this word and weld this one. Select both words and press draw. As you can see, the word has been welded and is shown as one element. The other word that hasn't been welded yet show as single letters that are overlapping. If it is cut, drawn, or scored, this word is going to get individual letters or overlap lines. You will see that the blade, marker, or scoring stylus is going to pass around all the outline of each letter, and this is not going to have a good result. Don't forget to weld the word before sending it to cut, draw, or score. This is not a script font, so it's not necessary to weld it. I'm going to duplicate it and use one to draw and the other to cut. I'm going to reduce the size so they fit better. I bought this phone online and it has a really thin stroke, which is great to use with the pen. Because it is so thin, it gives you the impression that it's only one line. Press draw. When I zoom in, you can see that the phone has an outline around it. However, because it is thin, it's going to look fine. Now I'm going to talk about Cricut Phones. Go to text and select Cricut Phones. There are a lot of fonts to choose from. As you can see, most fonts have a green A in front. If you are paying for Cricut Access, you will be able to use these fonts without any additional cost. You will only need to pay if you are using one without the green A. If you think you're going to use a lot of Cricut fonts and images, I recommend subscribing to Cricut Access. You could get the monthly, annual, or premium subscription. At the end of the day, you will save money, since getting single images and fonts is more expensive. Here I have a couple of Cricut fonts and I'm going to explain you a little more about them. Cricut fonts can be single layer or multi-layer, like this one that has 2 layers. One of the features that I like the most from Cricut fonts is the writing style. This is great if you are using Cricut pens. I'm going to duplicate this word. I'm using one to cut and the other to draw. I'm going to change the style to regular and the light type to cut. I recommend using the multi-layered fonts for print then cut projects. I wouldn't use them to cut or draw, but that's totally up to you. I'm going to switch it to another font. I'm going to do the same with this word, change the style to regular. Then I'm going to duplicate and change the style to writing and type light to draw. This is also a Cricut font and it only has one style available, writing. Since this is also a script font, I'm going to put together the letters as I did before. Select the word, press and group and move the letters until they touch each other. Then press group again. I recommend using Cricut fonts with the writing style when you are using pens. If I have to choose a winner, I would choose Cricut fonts. They are superior because they have been created exclusively to be used with Cricut. You will never find a system font that is multi-layer or has the writing style. However, I have shown you in this video that you can accomplish a similar result using system fonts that are really thin. When using system or Cricut fonts to cut, let's say cardstock, vinyl, craft foamy, etc., you will get a good result with either of them. Don't forget to weld the letters if you are using a script font. When using fonts to cut, I recommend using a clear color fill. That way you can see that there are no extra lines hidden. Now I'm going to select the pen that I'm going to use. I'm using the metallic pen in copper. You can use different color pens on your project, but remember you will need to switch the pens on Cricut. Select all and press attach. Now I'm going to send this project to cut and draw. Press make it. I have already placed the pen and I'm using the fine blade. I fast forwarded this part of the video, but this process took about 7 minutes. As you can see, they look great. Now I'm going to show you the cutouts. When using fonts to cut, I recommend choosing the ones with a thick stroke. Fonts with a thin stroke are more fragile. I hope you like this video and you find it informative. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If you are interested in getting a Cricut, I'm going to leave you the links to where you can buy it in the info box below the video. If you are new to my channel and you like what you see, hit the subscription button, tap the notification bell so you get informed every time I release a new video. Don't forget to visit my blog, follow me on my social media, like this video and share it with your loved ones. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.